Hello and welcome to Home Learning Science. Now baking is a science, and although you end up with a plethora of tasty treats, you need a ton of complex chemical reactions to get you there. So this week we're going to explore irreversible changes through making some delicious banana bread. But what is reversible or irreversible change? Basically, can you take the materials and change them back to their original states? If you take an ice cube and leave it out, it will melt and you get some delicious ice cube soup, otherwise known as water. But then if you put it back into the freezer, it'll turn back to an ice cube again. This is an example of a reversible change. However, if you fry an egg, there's no way to change it back to its unfried form. A chemical reaction has occurred and it's changed forever. This is an irreversible change. With baking, there's a number of irreversible changes, and as we go through the recipe, see if you can identify them. Almost all baking call for flour, eggs, sugar, and a leavening agent, baking soda or powder, or yeast, and follow a sequence of steps. If you follow all the instructions precisely, your end product will always be the same. This is what science is about: accuracy in its methods and results that can be repeated consistently. So here's what you got to do. First, get your adult to help you and heat the oven to 180 degrees C, or if you've got a fan oven, 160. So butter a 2-pound loaf tin and line the base inside with baking parchment. And then cream 140 grams of softened butter, 140 grams of caster sugar until light and fluffy. Then slowly add 2 beaten eggs with a little bit of the 140 grams of flour. Here's the first bit of science. The process of creaming, simply put, is just mixing butter and sugar together. But using a mixer or a whisk, a third component is being incorporated: air. The jagged sugar crystals cut air into the butter, and the butter forms a layer around the air pockets, making the mixture lighter and fluffier. Also, eggs serve 3 purposes in baked goods. First, the protein in the eggs form a layer around the already butter-covered air bubbles, preventing it from collapsing while baking in the oven. Second, it provides much needed water to the batter, more on that later. And lastly, it gives your baked goods an appealing tinge of yellow. Next, fold in the remaining flour, 1 teaspoon baking powder, and 2 mashed bananas. Flour gives your baked goods structure via gluten, a mixture of 2 proteins present in all cereal grains. They form an elastic network around the air bubbles you worked so hard for, helping your baked goods hold its shape, even though the structural stress of the expansion is happening when it's baking. Take care though not to overbeat the flour. This will result in a heavy and dense cake that can be unpleasant to eat because of too much gluten development. So you've mixed everything together, and now you just put it in the oven and bake for 30 minutes. But as you bake, you watch it rise. The rise in your baked goods comes from 2 things. Firstly, when your leavening agent is heated, whether it's baking soda or baking powder, it releases carbon dioxide into the dough or batter around it. As the temperature rises even higher, vapor forms in the water, in the batter and eggs. All this gas expands, enlarging the existing air bubbles in your batter. To prevent the gas from escaping, the gluten that you developed through the previous steps holds everything together, keeping the baked good whole. For easy visualization, think of your cake as a tiny network of soon-to-be delicious balloons. As the heat continues to rise, the egg proteins coagulate. The starch of the flour absorbs any moisture, and the gluten loses its elasticity. The batter has now set, taking a permanent shape. But have you ever wondered why raw batter doesn't taste the same as the end product? That's because during baking, the Maillard reaction works as magic, breaking down the sugars and amino acids in the batter to form flavour compounds, where mixing and folding doesn't. Apart from the flavour it imparts, the chemical reaction also is responsible for the golden brown colour of pastries and breads, and even steak. Finally, after all the physical and chemical reactions, the breakdown as well as the development of bonds and flavours, and all your hard work too, the cake's ready to enjoy. So take it out of the oven, leave it to sit for about 10 minutes, then take it out of the baking tray. I used lemon in my icing sugar topping to make a bit of citrusy tang to it, but you don't have to. You can just eat it as it is. I'd like you to go through this time, and when you're writing up your experiment, think about all the different irreversible changes you saw there. The egg you can turn back to normal, or the baking soda coming together releases air pockets. How does that work? Can you explain that in your results and conclusion? This week there's an extra worksheet to explore some other irreversible and reversible changes around the house. So why don't you give that a go, write it up, and I want to see those lovely cakes. If you enjoyed watching it, please like and subscribe, and catch you next time. Bye!